912 Sports, Southeast Georgia's #1 source for high school sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, a weekly look at high school sports in Southeast Georgia, featuring coaches, players, and journalists who know the ins and outs of prep athletics. Presented by the award-winning writers and broadcasters of 912 Sports, and sponsored by Coastal Pines Technical College, Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, Prime South Bank, and Gibson Animal Clinic. Now, this week's headline.
Will your team put a check in the win column tomorrow night? It counts for real. The 2021 football season kicks off with week 0, and there are important games all over the 912. We'll get a chance to preview some of those games later on in the show. Coming up, we have the Ross recap. We'll take a look back at the Ware Brunswick scrimmage. And the 912 Sports Game of the Week is Pierce traveling over to Brunswick. We'll get a chance to hear from Coach Herring and Coach Pender as they prepare the do battle between the bricks. All that and more on tonight's show. Thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
On Air with 912 Sports is back. I'm Robbie Ross, recapping the Friday the 13th preseason scrimmages. That's certainly not scary when we're talking about high school football getting cranked back up in the 912. The big one, Ware at Brunswick. Ware going to be competing and battling for the supremacy in 5A. Brunswick looking to win a region championship in 6A outright, as they shared it last year with Glenn and Richmond Hill. Battle to a 14-14 tie between the Bricks at Glenn County Stadium in the varsity portion. Camden at Valdosta, battle of the Wildcats. Valdosta wins that one 13-0, although, of course, the big news about Valdosta is they cannot move on to the playoffs, basically just playing out the schedule as they are on probation and cannot move into postseason play. It was Appling all over Bacon, 41-3. The Appling County Pirates getting set for a big 2021 season. Richmond Hill went on the road to take on veterans ranked 10th in 5A. Richmond Hill got the win 21-14, replacing pretty much everyone offensively and defensively. Vidalia beat Brantley County 21-0. It was Glenn and Bainbridge all the way almost to Alabama and Florida. That down there in the corner there of southwest Georgia. Bainbridge wins it 21-14. Effingham and Screven played. No score in that one. Wilcox at Jeff Davis. Of course, these are controlled scrimmages, not necessarily keeping score all the time. JV, varsity, kind of alternating. No special teams, live special teams. It just depends on what the coaches decide upon going into these scrimmages. Another one we had a score on was Metter at Statesboro. Metter taking care of Statesboro 21-0. Those two schools separated by about 15 miles. Frederica, Briarwood, and Robert Toombs all got together for a controlled scrimmage in GISA in Gisa. As long as you don't have officials or run a scoreboard, you can practice with anybody as many times as you want to. So these three teams taking advantage of that rule. Frederica will scrimmage officially Bethesda on Friday night and kick off the season on the 27th against Valwood. And one final scrimmage, McIntosh County Academy took on Long County, and it was the MCA Buccaneers defeating the Blue Tide of Long County 21-6. So preseason scrimmages wrapping up for the most part in GHSA as we head to the regular season opener this Friday night, and we are looking forward to that, of course. I'm Robbie Ross. That's a look back at the scrimmages from August the 13th right here on air with 912 Sports.
High schoolers, Did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal!
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, across from Harvey's in Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined here, as always, by Kevin Price, podcast host and writer for 912 Sports. And, Kevin, we just watched a well of a scrimmage game between two Southeast Georgia powerhouses. The Ware County Gators and the Brunswick High Pirates here between the bricks in Brunswick, Georgia, played to a 14-14 tie, played a live football game for 3 quarters, got to see a lot of stuff for both teams on, that they can go back and use on film, but it was a really good football game there between the bricks tonight.
Yeah, kind of a typical preseason scrimmage, if you want to kind of use a cliche for it. Both teams did a lot of positive things. Both teams did some negative things. But, they've been through situations like this, Sean, with 7-on-7s and OTAs. But this was really the first live continuous action. They probably had some scrimmage situations on their own field, too, but probably had some stoppages in those things. So here they got things on film, the good and the bad. And, they can go back and do a lot of teaching, correcting on the film. Look, a lot of the mistakes these kids made today, and some of the coaches probably made some mistakes. Well, they can go critique themselves and get a lot of stuff situated between this week and next week. We've all said before that a lot of teams make their biggest jumps between game 1 and game 2. Well, I think now you can kind of start to say that between scrimmage games. So I think both Ware County and Brunswick will probably take a step forward between this week and next week as well.
Exactly, and like I said, a lot of big plays early. Brunswick first offensive play from the scrimmage, scores on a touchdown pass, a little screen pass that goes up the middle, had a big 64-yard touchdown to Jaden Drayton. Ware was, had some bright spots, had a big night from Cartavius Norton, who came up a little bit lame in the second quarter. I don't know if he was 100% or not, but they held him out from that point on. And then, of course, TC12 had a huge week this week. Kevin named as AJC Super 11, the only second Ware County Gator ever to be named to be a part of that team. GHSA Daily named him as the best player in 5A. We put him on the 912 Sports All-Sports team as the quarterback. So a lot of pressure coming into him, coming in on him this week. He kind of played a little bit. He was good at spots, but then he kind of was iffy at spots. Maybe it was a little bit of pressure, maybe just knocking some of the rust off. But 3 interceptions on the night. But oh, by the way, he had a touchdown, and they did have the governor on him. I mean, let's face it, we didn't see TC12 that we're going to see in a regular season game. We saw TC12 get through the scrimmage without getting hurt.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he's probably jacked up to the max. He's beginning his senior year, and he's going to have a target on his back all season long. And all the things that happened to him this week with all the preseason accolades, look, that's all hunky-dory and nice. He really deserves all that stuff. He's that good. We're going to see that materialize over the course of the season. But he got an even bigger target on his back going into this preseason scrimmage. The Pirates were jacked up to face him as well. So I'm sure he wanted to go out and kind of prove himself, even though he really has nothing to prove. And maybe he did force the issue a little bit. He had a pass that was tipped, and that kind of stuff's just going to happen, and it ended up getting intercepted. He had another play where a young DB for Brunswick, a sophomore, Tyler Sams, broke on the ball and made a real good play. I think that was more of a good play than a bad pass by TC12. And then, of course, he had an interception in the end zone on their first drive coming out of the second half. I know they probably wanted to punch the ball in and then put the first-string guys out of the game from there. So I know that probably hurt Coach Strickland and TC12 and the offense that they didn't score right there. Nice drive down the field, just didn't capitalize and finish. But that's another one of those teaching moments. I know he would probably like to have that throwback. But they didn't turn him loose, and so we didn't see all the Ware offense. And I tell you what, though, Norton is going to be a freaking load. People are going to be tired of tackling him by the time it comes to fourth quarter. that dude is a beast.
Yeah, he's a big running back, runs with a lot of speed, runs with a lot of, hops. He's got some moves on him, and like I said, he's that kind of guy that in the third and fourth quarter you got to start asking yourself, do I want to get in front of this kid? So I think he's going to be a big part of the offense this year. Brunswick had a great night tonight, played a couple of different quarterbacks. One of their quarterbacks didn't get a chance to play. Reese Simmons, had a pretty good night. Of course, big Shania Charlton going to FSU. Like I said, so a lot of stars for Brunswick were on the field tonight, and they all played well.
Yeah, Sutton Ellis got his first action under the Friday Night Lights, I guess you could say, as Brunswick's starting quarterback. Has split a lot of time in the summer with Jeffrey Way, who was out tonight due to COVID-19 protocol, so Sutton got to start. Played well, especially early in that first quarter, through that screen pass to Pat Leggett. Brunswick executed that from the first guy to the 11th guy, and he took it to the hut for a touchdown. Then Sutton threw that beautiful pass to the transfer, Jaden Drayton from Glenn Academy. He showed the explosiveness that he can bring to the Brunswick offense. He carried the ball a few times as well, some jet sweeps. You may see him line up all over the field on the offensive side of the football, going to play DB as well, return punts and kicks. So just like he did at Glenn, he's hardly ever going to leave the field. But also, just like them not turning the TC-12 loose, Brunswick really didn't show it all tonight. Maybe even a quarter of their playbook, if that. I really don't know. But, Reese Simmons didn't really carry the ball all that much. Jacoby Hill also did not play, a little bit banged up during the week. So we didn't really see the true Pirate bread and butter, and that's that running game between the tackles and getting those guys outside as well. Now, Coach Pender did give credit to Ware's run defense. When they did try to run the ball, they got stuffed several times. But Brunswick's bread and butter is going to be running that ball straight ahead at people on the ground. We didn't see a whole lot of that really tonight.
And I was a little bit surprised because I kind of thought the defense would be ahead of offense, and it really did come to fruition about halfway through that second quarter. But the first quarter, the offenses were lighting both defenses up, and then things kind of settled down once that 14-14 score got that way, and the defense kind of took over and had their way. But again, I was thinking defense might be ahead of the game from Jump Street, but both offenses, both Wares and Brunswick, looked really good tonight. Listen, we're going to be talking about these teams a lot, Kevin, as we go further into the season. I think Ware's got a big, deep run in them. Brunswick, I believe, is going to be a team to beat in 6A. You mentioned, earlier that some people have them the front runner in that region. Right now on paper, I say Brunswick is the front runner in that region. You never can count out Glenn Academy and Rocky Hidalgo and those guys because they always come to play. Matt Lazat or Richmond Hill, they've been there the last couple of years. So that's going to be a really interesting region. Oh, and not to mention, you got to think about Effingham, with the new John Ford coming in, how good are those guys going to be? You still got Statesboro, you still got South Effingham. So that's going to be a really, really good region to watch. But I think we're going to be talking about both Brunswick High and Ware deep into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ware plays in that rugged region over there, certainly, and regardless of where they finish, whether it's first, second, or third, if they play the kind of football we expect them to play, all those teams, I think, are going to have a chance at winning the state title. But I certainly think Ware does. I think they got a really good chance, particularly with TC-12 running the show at quarterback. And then Brunswick, you got them, Richmond Hill, and Glenn is probably the three teams that everybody has their eye on. Everybody's probably
the three coaches.
everybody's probably picking, those teams, one of those teams to win. Brunswick may have maybe more talent on paper, but the thing is, Richmond Hill knows how to win, and they have big belief, and Glenn knows how to win, and they have big belief, and that really means a lot, particularly in high school football. So like you said, don't count either one of those teams out, and don't count their coaching staffs out, but Brunswick's going to be right there too, and that's really going to be a dogfight in that region once again.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Kevin. It's going to be a great season. You can keep up with it right here with On Air with 912 Sports. Appreciate everybody watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports. I'm joined here by the defending 3A state champion head coach, Coach Ryan Herron. Coach, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing great.
Well, Coach, you guys have got a big game of the week this week. Got to go over between the Bricks and Brunswick to take on the Pierce County Bears. Let's take a look at that contest and what you guys are going to be facing when you guys show up over in Brunswick on Friday night.
Well, we know they got some ginormous tackles. Both those guys can probably block out the sun. We know they got a stable of good running backs and receivers, a lot of speed on the perimeter. So we know, it's going to be a tough night to try to shut them down. So we got to just make sure we don't give them big things, make them earn everything. Defensively, I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. I think on the back end, they've got good speed. I know they got a good linebacker that'll run and hit you, and they got the big nose guard. So I think they got a lot of good players. I think it'll be a tough game.
Well, Coach, you guys have got some players back on defense. Ty Everson, Ty Little, Dayton Baker, Man Johnson, a couple of those guys that you're going to depend on. But talk about some of the newcomers that maybe Bears fans don't know that might, have to step up and play a role Friday night against the Pirates.
Well, we got Jaquez White at cornerback. Luke Bennett and Brent Johnson also play some cornerback. We've got Matthew Taylor at inside linebacker. We've got Hugh Saucy at defensive end, Elijah Howard at defensive end. So, we've got 4 or 5 new faces, and I think all of them are going to be good players for us. Hopefully they'll play well this Friday night. But, no matter how they play this Friday night, I know they're going to be good players. We may not be where we want to be right now, but we're going to get there.
Right. And on the offensive side of the ball, you got your playmaker back, DJ Bell, but you're going to be missing your big quarterback, Jermaine Bruton, who was a 4-year starter over here at Pierce County. Talk a little bit about some of the new guys on the offensive side of the ball that you're going to be, counting on.
Well, Carson Sloan has taken Jermaine's place, and Carson's going to be he's a sophomore, and he's had a good summer. Going to make some mistakes that sophomores make. But he's gotten better and understands what his role is, what he's got to do for us. He's got to protect the football and don't turn it over. We've got Nook Johnson that'll play some running back too, and he'll play linebacker. But we've got some Hugh Saucy and Elijah Howard are both guards, and I think both those guys are going to be real good players. They both are athletic and don't mind striking you. We got some guys like Dayton Baker who this year will moonlight on offense too. So big thing is some of them, they have to carry their water bottles with them on the field because they're not going to have time to go off sideline and get it. So they're going. We got a lot of guys that are going to play a lot of football this year. So it's a challenge, but we've got some good players. It's hot right now in August, and we got to get through these first 2 or 3 weeks in this heat. And but I think all we got to do is just really play smart football, and let's get it to the fourth quarter. And I think if we can do that, we have a chance. If not, it'll be tough.
Right. Well, Coach, big game coming up Friday night, but let's look down the road. This was a tough region that you guys are in. You've got Brantley, Long, usually comes down to Appleton County and yourself. But talk a little bit about this region this year and what you guys are going to face once you get into region play.
Well, I think Brantley, I think they'll be better. I know Tatnall will be better. They had a young team last year. Don't know much about Long. They had a new coach. And, of course, Appleton's got a lot of good players back. Got a new coach, so I'm sure they got a lot of enthusiasm up there. So, I think that Appleton game will be a big game.
Right. And then, of course, you guys, I don't know who made your schedule, but you might want to talk to them, Coach, because you guys didn't do any favors. Big 6A school in Brunswick. You got to play Wayne, a couple other heavyweights there just to got to go back over and play Fitzgerald, who, by the way, played for another state title. So you guys have got some heavyweights just to get to region play.
Yeah, that's one thing now. We've got a non-region schedule that's pretty tough, and I hope that's going to help us. when you get to, say, game 10 with Appleton, you want to have been in some wars before you get to that game. And with our schedule, we're going to be in some wars, I can promise you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Coach, it's going to be a great contest over there Friday night between the Bricks as you guys travel over to take on the Brunswick High Powers. Oh, and by the way, you get to play the former Pierce County coach and Sean Pender, who's been over there for several years now. But again, you guys go get them. Should be a great contest, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All righty.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
All right, now with us here on our first football show of the season on air with 912 Sports is BHS coach Sean Pender. Coach, Brunswick against Pierce County at Glenn County Stadium Friday night, our opening week game of the week. Obviously, two great 912 teams going at it. It is game week. I know that's exciting for you and the Pirates and also the Pierce County Bears from Blackshear. Just talk about the excitement that goes into playing an opening ball game, walking out on that stadium field on a Friday night with the atmosphere that's probably going to be there if we get good weather. Just a great feeling to be out there for the first high school Friday night of the season.
Oh, I'm definitely anticipating an electric atmosphere going against Pierce County. I mean, they're coming off winning the state championship, and they have a great crowd support. I mean, their fans will travel, and they'll go to the game. So the atmosphere is going to be electric. We'll have a good home crowd. They're gonna have a good crowd. They're going to have a lot of high expectations. We have a lot of high expectations. It's going to be a fun night of football, Kevin. It's going to be one of those, this being a game of the week, I really feel it's appropriate because you're going to see two teams getting after each other. You're going to see two teams playing extremely hard. Both of us are well coached. Both of us are physical ball clubs, and it's going to be a fun heavyweight fight.
Hey, Coach, it's kind of funny how this matchup got set up last year, really because of COVID, both of you guys losing games, and it's great to see that you guys kept each other on the schedule. I know it kind of took some working to get to do that. We won't get in to all that, but like you said, they're coming off the state championship run a year ago. You had a playoff team that went to the second round. You ran into that buzzsaw Lee County that went on to play for the championship, but you're a year better with increased expectations, and I know they're not shying away from expectations again. So you got two really good teams going at it. They're playing a bigger school, you're playing a smaller school, but they know how to win. So in terms of playing a good opponent, both of you guys have jumped on a good one here in week number one.
Oh, absolutely. But you can ask Lowndes about Elka. It's not always the size of the school. It's just
That's right.
It has to do with the players on that field, and whether you're a big school or a smaller school, if you got enough players on that field that can play, you're going to be in for a great night of football. And that's what I anticipate with Pierce County. Pierce County is a program I'm very familiar with. I was there before I came here, and those kids working, they know how to work. They're very disciplined. They work hard. They get after it. They know how to win football games now, Kevin, and they've been proving that for now over a decade. They've been in the playoffs every single year and advancing for the most part. And that, of course, they finally got that state title. So I know that what we're about to see with them. But on our behalf, we've kept improving too. I've been here now. This is going on my 5th year. We've been to the playoffs every year, but one of them, and we started advancing. One time we got knocked out in the first round, and then these past 2 years we've been knocked out in the second round. So now we are wanting to advance and get to the third, and to do that you have to play against championship caliber teams and win versus championship caliber teams, and getting a chance to line up at the first game of the season and go against a defending state champion is going to give us a really testimony to where we are and see where we're at and see where we need to go. And of course we had a good scrimmage versus Ware, a pretty good showing, and now we're going into this Pierce County game, and hopefully we can improve upon what we did in the scrimmage game and go out and have a great game, and hopefully the improvements are where we need to be successful. Pierce got the best of us last year. They beat us pretty good, actually, 31-10 or something like that, and touchdown we had came late in the game. So it was a situation where we got beat up and bullied a little bit last year by this smaller team, right? So now we're ready, and we're ready to rock and roll, and we're looking for a different outcome. Obviously, we're going expecting to win, just like they're going expecting to win, and hopefully we've learned some from last year, and we're ready to rock and roll this year.
I know you've got a lot of high praise for Pierce, having been part of that program, and as we watched some film before we came on, you know the kids, you know the parents, you know their nicknames and all that kind of stuff, more so than maybe their real first names. But Coach, you know they lost a lot from that team, but I don't know if they're really rebuilding or reloading. It doesn't matter what terminology you use, but they still have some pieces back, and you know they'll bring some good pieces on to the varsity club. But they're going to be fast, they're going to be physical, they're going to be fundamentally sound and well coached. Just talk about real briefly what you see from Pierce on offense and on defense, the team they'll bring over here Friday night.
Oh, I mean, you just said it, Kevin. With they're going to be fast. They're going to be strong. They're very good in the weight room over there. They're definitely well coached. It's a very good program. I mean, they have all the right tools. So no, you can't sit there and say, oh, we're going to be rebuilding. No, they're reloaded. They have some good quality athletes. I'm not looking at it as a rebuild year for them. They're battling. There's 7 returning starters on a very stingy defense. They look pretty good when they're doing that, and not all their starters are out there on that film. There's some guys that are missing, and I know they're missing. And I know how good they are. So we'll see if they end up playing or not. But if they do play, we're preparing for them like they are going to be playing. So we are not underestimating this opponent by any means. This is going to be a battle, and we're going into this game expecting a battle and expecting us to play against a team that is capable of making a run for a state championship. And we want to be that type of team. So to do that, we have to come and play very good football and be physical, be fast, be disciplined, be well coached, and not make the mistakes that are going to get us beat.
All right, Coach. Well, we look forward to it. We look forward to Pierce and Brunswick getting after it on Friday night, and we'll see you between the bricks out there at the stadium.
I'll look forward to it, Kevin. Take care.
All right, thank you, Coach.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined here by Kevin Price, podcast host and writer for 912 Sports. And we're going to preview next week's games. We're over here at Wayne County. Just got done with the Wayne County Yellow Jackets Touchdown Club. Big shout out to Coach Ken Cribb for inviting us over here to be a part of this tonight. Great organization here, Ken. A lot of fun. Kevin, a lot of fun here had tonight at the Wayne County Touchdown Club.
Yeah, good crowd out here. This was their first meeting of the year going into week 1, and sounds like the Jackets are excited about their game Saturday night in Statesboro against Statesboro, of course, at Paulson Stadium. We're going to talk about that game here in a moment, but Sean, week 1 is here, so let's dive right on in.
Yeah, and Kevin, a team that we both got to watch last Friday night in a scrimmage, Pierce County is going to take the short drive over to Brunswick to take on the Brunswick High Pirates. Pierce County coming off a big 3A state championship last year. They were the creme de la creme in 3A. Coach Ryan Herron did a fantastic job. Those guys had a phenomenal season, but it's not going to start out real pretty for them this year. They got to go to Brunswick and play a much improved, in my opinion, 6A Brunswick High football team.
Yeah, these two teams played last year. Both the teams lost a couple of opponents due to COVID. They were able to get each other on the schedule. They worked it out again through some communication back and forth where they could play again this year, and that's a good thing. So last year the game was in Blackshear, this year it's in Brunswick. Pierce may not be quite as good. I don't know if they're necessarily rebuilding. They might be reloading, but still they're in the early stages of reloading. Brunswick is loaded up. They do have a better team than they did last year.
a lot more experience overall, a lot of size, a lot of athleticism. They are at home, so Brunswick should be favored in this game. They've got revenge on their mind, and for high school kids, that's a big thing. And so, Brunswick probably is favored, probably should win the ball game. They've got the target on their back, and let's see if they can live up to the hype. But they know they're going to run into a Pierce team that's going to be fast, strong, physical, well-coached. This is big school, little school, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. This is Pierce County with a lot of pride, a lot of tradition, a lot of good athletes. Coach Pender knows them by their nickname, Man, and everyone else. All knows all the Bennett boys, so he knows he's up against a good challenge. This is a good game for both teams.
Right. Well, coming off from that scrimmage from Ware County, a couple things I took away from that game from Brunswick. Defensive backs were much improved over what I saw last year when I watched Brunswick play. Those guys were making plays on the ball. They covered up Ware County's receivers very well. The two linebackers played very well for Brunswick. I went over there looking to see an offensive explosion for Brunswick, and hey, listen, they hit Ware County for two big plays on offense. Scored their 14 points, one on a 46-yard touchdown screen and one on a 64-yard bomb to Jaden Drayton. I'll get the letters right here in a second. But so I was expecting that, but I was not expecting their defense to be as strong as it was. So Coach Thomas Tedder, I think they've added a couple of new coaches over there, but they've really got those guys playing well. So I look for this to be a tough challenge for Pierce County right out of the box. So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a great game. Anybody that's going to be between the bricks Friday night is going to get to see a good one.
Well, I think the lines of scrimmage will be a good matchup regardless of who has the ball. Pierce has some good size. Brunswick has really good size on both lines of scrimmage and has good depth on their defensive front. We'll see if that plays a toll on Pierce going throughout the ball game. Again, that big school versus little school. Brunswick did have some guys out from talking to Coach Pender today that he really didn't advertise in that scrimmage the other night, but one of their positions of strength in terms of depth is the defensive front. They'll probably play a three-man front most of the time, but they could go 6 or 7 deep, rotating guys in or out. If they have all those guys Friday night, that will be the case most of the season if they're injury-free. But yeah, they got some size up there. They got some linebackers. They lost some linebackers that played a lot last year that were key members of the team, but they have some guys back that did play a lot. And you talked about their secondary. They did intercept Castellano 3 times. Of course, one was on the tip pass. But they got guys that are probably what I call typical Brunswick High football players. Right. When you think of Brunswick High, they got guys that can run around, they're athletic, make plays. That's the kind of guys they have in the secondary.
Right, and they look real impressive. So going to be a good one over there on Friday night. Next game up, Kevin, is Glenn at McIntosh. Glenn, again, another big 6A school against a small 1A school. But the geographic location of these two schools, was it 9 miles down the road or whatever, 12 miles, whatever it is. That's the reason for this game being played. But a good tune-up for Coach Rock to get his guys get their feet a little bit wet. And really a good thing for Coach Bradley Warren because he's in that tough 1A region over there. They're going to be playing the likes of Calvary Day and some other really good schools in that region. So a good tune-up for them as well.
Yeah, so this was a game, I think McIntosh was on Brunswick's schedule last year. McIntosh was not on Glenn's schedule, but again, because of COVID, Glenn lost some opponents, I think, out of the Savannah area. I think maybe McIntosh did as well, so they got Glenn on the schedule as well. McIntosh came over to Brunswick to play both Glenn and Brunswick back-to-back. This year it's the opposite. Glenn's going to Darien this first week. Brunswick's going to Darien next week. Now, yeah, this is the typical big school, little school. You're talking about 2 6A teams in Glenn and Brunswick going over there to play little single-A McIntosh. We all know McIntosh has athletes, particularly in the front line, 1 and 2 guys, but the depth of Glenn and Brunswick should eventually take over. It did last year, probably will this year. But Coach Warren's not afraid of a fight. They've got athletes. Their frontline guys, like I say, could be as good as anybody on Glenn and Brunswick's side. And they'll go toe-to-toe early, but eventually I think Brunswick's or Glenn's depth will make the difference. It'll be interesting, again, to see how much Glenn does go over there and sling the ball around like they did all summer, how much they will run the ball. So we'll just see what the run-pass ratio is. But Glenn should win the ball game, but it'll be interesting to see the fight that McIntosh puts up.
Yeah, and not only that, gets a chance for the MCA bunch to put a little money in the coffers.
That's exactly
should be
right.
A really good game for that program. So then we go over to Georgia Southern. 2 big games over at Georgia Southern. The first off is Clinch at Monroe County. This game took place last year. Monroe County came
Macon County.
I'm sorry, Macon County. I'm sitting here. I wrote the wrong name of it. Macon County. But this game did take place last year. Macon County came out winners. I think we looked it up. Macon County was like 9-2 last year. So this is a very, very good single A team. But Clint's going to get tested right out of the gate.
Yeah, Macon County beat Clinch. I guess it was Labor Day weekend last year when the season got pushed back because of COVID. The high school season got delayed a couple of weeks, so this was the opener for both teams. Beat Clinch 21-19, but Clinch had problems all year long, like you know, Sean, with COVID, and so Clinch probably not at its best during that game. Had an interesting conversation with Coach Tyson. They're going to do a lot of the same things Clinch is known for, but they're changing some things up this year, so it could be a trial by fire a little bit for Clinch early on, but I think we'll see another really good Clinch team before it's all over with. Of course, they're playing in that really tough region that they're in, but I think they'll make another deep run as they usually do at that state championship. But I like Clinch in this ball game, particularly since they lost this ball game last year.
Yeah, they're pretty good at revenge games. But right after that, over at Georgia Southern, you're going to have Wayne taking on Statesboro. Statesboro under Coach Kaiser, they had a really tough year. You're talking about a COVID team that was really stricken. Coach Kaiser himself was sick for a long time. Spent a long time in the hospital. He was able to battle back and recover. But it really put those guys behind the 8 ball all last year. I think Statesboro only won like 3 games. They're a lot better football team than just 3 wins. We got to hear a little bit about what they've got coming back this year. Got a young sophomore quarterback, but I believe he said he was the fastest guy in the 200 in the state of Georgia. That's really impressive for a guy that plays quarterback. They've got a big running back. I can't remember what the kid's name is right now, number 5. He is a load. He's that guy, almost like the Ware County guy, Cartavius Norton that we talked about. In the fourth quarter, you really got to ask yourself, do I want to throw my body in front of this guy? Because he is just going to pound you and pound you and pound you. But listen, Wayne comes into this contest. They're hungry. They're ready to go. Wayne's always got athletes. They're always going to be, well prepared under Coach Ken Cribb. So, like I said, I would have to give the edge right now to Wayne County in that game. Statesboro, coming off a loss to Metter. Now, I don't know what they showed. I don't know what, where they were at. They may have had some guys that they sat. That score may have come from a 9th grade team that scored late in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I just know the score that we were told was Metter won 21-0. So, like I said, so that kind of gives me pause, on Statesboro being back to their, regular strength. So I'm going to have to give Wayne the edge in this game.
Yeah, but Metter's really good too. And again, you can take these scrimmages for what they're worth, and they're a lot like preseason NFL games. But Wayne County obviously has these guys scouted out. A good meeting over here tonight. They introduced their coaching staff, and then their offensive, defensive coordinators kind of gave the scouting report on both sides of the ball for Statesboro. But, hey, it's not rocket science. Statesboro is Statesboro. They did do a good job, though, of breaking these guys down and talking about their personnel. But they're going to be big and physical. That's their way. That's Jeff Kaiser's way. That's the old Statesboro way. They're going to run the ball at you, pound it at you on offense. And then defensively, they're physical as well. They're going to come downhill and hit you in the mouth, and you better be ready to punch back. But I will say this. I think, I saw Wayne in that scrimmage against Glen Academy a couple of weeks ago, control scrimmage. I thought Wayne's defense did a pretty decent job, and I think their defense might be able to keep them in some ball games this year. I know they're breaking in a new quarterback, but I think they can run the ball as well. And, so maybe Wayne's a little more seasoned. If they can keep that quarterback under control, it sounds like if he can get outside on you, he can go to distance at any point. So they got to keep away or not let him break the big plays on them and not let the Statesboro just go 3 yards in a cloud of dust and wear them out. But I do think Wayne County may be the more experienced, the better team at this point. Coach Cribb, I think, is going to be coaching from the press box. That's an interesting dynamic. Certainly, we want him to get better coming off that back surgery, but we saw they have a good, competent staff here tonight, and they'll be just fine with Coach Cribb up there in the booth.
Yeah, they'll be ready to go. Last game that we're going to talk about in depth is Charlton at Brantley. Charlton County coming off a season who missed the playoffs by 1 game. Brantley, a team that only won 1 game but made the playoffs. So that kind of shows you how screwy high school football is when it comes to making the playoffs. Coach Jeff Cannon's looking for more wins there in Caney Bay. Coach Russ Murray's looking to just win maybe 1 more so he can make the playoffs. And again, he's in that tough region with Irwin, Clinch, Brooks, Turner County. I mean, this thing is a brutal single A, region there. So it'll be interesting to see. Charlton does have to go on the road to Caney Bay, so I think that gives a little bit of advantage to Brantley County, but I think Charlton will just be a little bit too much for Brantley.
Yeah, Charlton's in that tough region, and then Brantley is in a tough region in their region as well, dealing with Pierce and Appling. They're the top two dogs in that region, and you can't talk about winning a region title until you can beat Pierce and or Appling. But, Brantley, has fought an uphill battle the last couple of years, and, last year they were certainly undermanned, had trouble scoring points. The year before, they were solid, won the games they should have, made the playoffs. Last year, they did make their way into the playoffs, but scoring was an issue, so that's key number one, to see if they can get some scoring, put more points on the board, and then hold teams down a little bit better. Charlton, I think they're trying to, get back to their glory days slowly but surely. They do have some good-looking athletes. We saw them down. I know I saw them down at the Camden OTA, as you did as well.
The young quarterback, King's really impressive.
Yeah, the young quarterback is really impressive. Tall, lanky guy. Plays basketball as well, so he'll be one to watch.
Saad Akbar, the defensive lineman for Charlton, very, very competent, part of the 912 all-sports team.
Yes, so they got some guys that certainly be top guys to watch. So Charlton may have a little bit too much, but it should be a good, knockdown, drag-out fight there in Caney Bay. And I'm just looking for both these teams to show improvement out of the gate and have something to hang their hat on.
Exactly. Well, that's all the in-depth coverage we've got. We're going to post the rest of the games for coming up for this Friday. But, hey, get out and see a high school football game. Appreciate you watching On Air with 912 Sports. And until next time, may all your check marks go in the win column.
This has been On Air with 912 Sports. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with more coverage of Southeast Georgia high school sports. On Air with 912 Sports has been brought to you by Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, Prime South Bank, Gibson Animal Clinic, Coastal Pines Technical College, Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, and Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty. This has been a presentation of 912 Sports, Southeast Georgia's #1 source for high school sports.